So an alkaline environment will encourage growth and multiplication and overgrowth of yeast, and you get yeast infections. Okay, so your pH should maintain between the ranges of 3.5 to 4.5. So I've said an acidic vaginal smell is a normal smell for you. Okay. So what's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing cool. So welcome back to yet another educative video. So here we go again. Okay, so in today's video I'll be talking about two things that I'm sure most women have experienced. I'll be talking about two things that go hand to hand. So in today's video we'll be talking about types of vaginal discharges and types of vaginal smells. Most women have an experience to this. I'm sure 99.99% of women have experienced either a vaginal discharge or a vaginal smell. But most of the times, if you have a vaginal smell, you have a vaginal discharge. Okay? But it is possible to have a vaginal discharge without a smell when everything is normal. It is also possible to have a vaginal smell without a discharge. Okay? So that is what we'll be talking about today, and we will know which vaginal smell indicates everything is okay, or which vaginal smell indicates that there is an infection. We also learn about the normal types of vaginal discharges, and when you have a discharge which is warning you of an infection. Okay, so that is what we'll be talking about in this video. So we start off with vaginal smells. Okay, so vaginal smell number one is an acidic vaginal smell. So an acidic vaginal smell is a normal smell for any healthy vagina. So if you don't have any infection, if everything is okay, then you should have an acidic vaginal smell. So that one indicates that everything is okay. You should not get worried about that. That is healthy for you. Okay, so an acidic vaginal smell is a normal discharge. Okay, so we all know that every healthy vagina has a pH value of between 3.5 and 4.5. A pH value of below 3.5 to 4.5. So when it comes to pH, we are talking about the acidity or the alkalinity of every vagina. Okay, so what happens when the pH changes? Either it drops below 3.5 or goes higher than 4.5. So dropping below 3.5 means that your vagina becomes excessively acidic. So your vagina should have the normal ranges of the pH, an acidic environment which will discourage survival for any disease-causing microorganism. Okay, either a bacteria, fungi, a virus. Most of these microorganisms will not survive in an acidic environment. So that is why your vagina should be acidic. Okay, that is why you don't get infections every day. Despite the exposure, you don't get infections every day. Okay, but sometimes you get infections, but it is not every day. Why? Because that pH value, the acidic environment, protects your vagina so that you don't get recurrent infections. Okay. Yes. So what happens when the pH drops below 3.5? Now your vagina becomes excessively acidic, meaning it will not be healthy for your normal flora or your healthy bacteria. Remember, your vagina has what we call healthy bacteria that protects your vagina or that helps in prevention of diseases or infections. Okay, so you don't get infections because you have normal flora or healthy bacteria that protects you from getting infections. So when the vagina becomes highly acidic, because the pH has dropped below 3.5, maybe now at 2.5, 2.9, 3.0, that is a drop. So the environment becomes highly acidic. So that means even the healthy bacteria will not survive. They will not be spared too. So they will be cleared, destroyed, and you keep on getting recurrent infections. It is also not good for your panties. So you keep on buying panties every now and then you realize they wear out so fast. And you are like, why? And they actually stain. They stain a lot, huh? Because of a highly acidic vagina. So that one is not healthy for you. You actually feel so itchy because the environment is more acidic. Okay, so what happens when the pH goes higher or above 4.5? Above, the more you move upwards on the pH scale, the more you're approaching alkalinity or an alkaline environment. Okay, on the pH scale. So if the pH goes above 4.5, maybe 5, maybe 6, that vagina becomes highly alkaline. So an alkaline environment will encourage growth and multiplication and overgrowth of yeast, and you get yeast infections. Okay, so your pH should maintain between the ranges of 3.5 to 4.5. So I've said an acidic vaginal smell is a normal smell for you. Okay, so the next smell we'll be talking about is a metallic vaginal smell. I'm not sure if you have heard of these, but it is there. It is very common, and especially after intercourse. Very common. Huh? So some women out here will say that I don't know if it is because his sperm smell. You know, I'm sure you've heard of that. People saying, I think his sperm smell. It is not because the semen is smelly, but it is because of the reaction that happens between. Normally, the semen is normally alkaline with a very high pH of above 7.5, you know, towards 9. Okay, between 7 and 9. That is the pH value, or the normal pH value of semen. Okay, remember your vagina is acidic. For those who did chemistry, you remember very well the reaction between alkalis and acid-base reactions. I'm sure you can remember that. So the moment there is a reaction between an acidic environment and an alkaline solution, okay, the moment you have that, you get an acidic smell. Okay, so that is why you get that. Most people call it sex flavor, because that is a smell that comes along with sexual intercourse. The reaction between semen and your acidic environment gives you a metallic vaginal smell. So that is also a normal smell. So that is why you're actually not supposed to sleep with semen. So if you have intercourse, make sure when you're done and you're satisfied, the next thing should be you should land in your bathroom, take a shower, and clear out all the semen. Don't retain semen. And retaining semen does not mean that you get pregnant. Okay, for those who are trying to get pregnant, you can still get pregnant even if you take a shower immediately after sex. So don't sleep with semen, because the more you retain semen, your vagina is your vaginal environment is neutralized by when he ejaculates, there is a lot of alkaline semen released or deposited in your vagina. And remember, your women produce or secrete very little vaginal juices which are acidic. So that means you have excess of alkaline solution inside you. So that means the more you retain it, the more you mess up your pH, and the more you're likely to get recurrent yeast infections and among other types of infections. Okay, so a metallic vaginal smell is a normal smell. So you should never get worried when you have that smell or sex flavor smell. Okay, so that is a normal smell. So the next smell number 3, we'll be talking about a fall vaginal smell. So anytime you have a bad smell coming out of your vagina, either the discharge is smelly or you have no discharge but there is a smell, then that means that you have an infection. So a fall vaginal smell means that there is an infection. Most of the times it is likely to be bacterial vaginosis or yeast infection. Bacterial vaginosis or yeast infection. Okay, so anytime you get a foul vaginal smell, don't go for shortcuts. Don't think it will clear with time. An infection will not clear itself unless treated, and especially vaginal infections, until you treat them, that is when you'll be able to clear them, and the smell will disappear. But if you don't treat the underlying issue of the infection, then still that smell will remain there. And I've seen so many women trying to, to cover up that smell. Covering it up will not help you. Don't buy those vaginal sprays. Don't buy those vaginal perfumes. They're there because you have a smell. Don't try to steam. Treat the infection. People steam because they want to clear vaginal odor. You use steaming herbs to clear the vaginal smell. Of course, you will clear it, but again, for how long? That is just soothing the symptoms, not treating the infection. Okay, so don't use perfumes, don't use vaginal sprays, don't steam to clear vaginal odor. If you have a foul vaginal smell, that one says that you have an infection that really needs you to seek help, attention, or medical advice, that it can be treated so that it doesn't complicate. Okay, so if you don't treat infections early, they complicate. So that is a foul vaginal smell. Okay, so that is smell number 3. So smell number 4, we'll be talking about a rotten vaginal smell. It is rare, but it is there. It is rare, but it is there. And when you get a rotten vaginal smell, that one is highly alarming, because this is a serious health issue. A very serious one. Huh? So women who have cervical cancer experience this. It is so strong. I'm sure how a rotten smell smells. So a rotten vaginal smell means that you either have a very serious uterine infection, or you have cervical cancer, until you get signs and symptoms of uterine infections. You never know that you have you never know that you have an uterine infection until symptoms come up, and especially a rotten vaginal smell. So the moment you realize you have a rotten vaginal smell, then that means that you should go and have some serious checkup. Okay, a rotten vaginal smell is not a normal smell. It indicates a serious health issue or gynecological issue. Okay, so make sure you seek medical advice. Okay, so the next smell that we'll be talking about is yeast smell. Okay, a yeast smell can be a normal smell and can be an indication that this is a yeast infection. Okay, so if it is strong yeast infection, that one indicates automatically you have a yeast infection. But remember, we said that for yeast infections, most of the time yeast infection will just present with a foul vaginal smell. Okay, so if you get a strong yeast smell, then that one means that you have a yeast infection and needs to be treated. So the next smell, I think this is smell number 6. It is more than 5 actually. Smell number 6, that I think this is the last one, is very common. A fishy vaginal smell. A fishy vaginal smell indicates an infection always. Always. A fishy vaginal smell indicates that there is an infection, needs to be treated. It is likely Trichomoniasis vaginalis, bacterial vaginosis. This smell is very common when you have those two types of infections, and sometimes when you have a sexually transmitted infection, which actually Trichomoniasis vaginalis is a sexually transmitted infection. So I think now we should be moving forward to discuss the types of vaginal discharges, which one are normal and which one are not. So discharge number 1, we'll be talking about cheese-like vaginal smell. A discharge that looks or appears like spoiled milk, cheese-like vaginal discharge indicates that there is a yeast infection, whether there is a smell or not. Just like vaginal discharge indicates that there is an infection. There is yeast infection. Okay, so that is about just like vaginal discharge. So the next type of discharge we'll be talking about red discharge. A red discharge, we all know what it is. Menstruation, very normal, very normal, very normal. But sometimes it can be a different type or a different color of menstruation. We'll be talking about that, okay? But a red discharge indicates that you're menstruating. So that is a normal discharge, okay? So the next type of a discharge is a pink discharge. A pink discharge could indicate that you have hormonal imbalance. If you have hormonal imbalance, you get a pinkish discharge. When you get pregnant, an indication of implantation. So a pink discharge could also indicate that you're pregnant. A pink discharge is also normal when you get it after giving birth, postpartum, what we call lochia. So if you see a pink discharge after giving birth, then that is okay. Don't get so worried about that, okay? So that is about a pink discharge or a pinkish discharge. So what about a white discharge? A white discharge could be a normal discharge if it has zero smell. If there is no smell, most of the times a white discharge is normal. But if there is a smell, a foul smell, a fishy smell, then there is an infection, okay? So, if there is an infection, we have said, you must get treated. You must get treated for the infection. Don't wait for it to complicate. So the next type of a vaginal discharge we'll be talking about is what we call clear, stretchy cervical mucus. Clear, stretchy cervical mucus indicates that you are on your fertile days, okay? You're just about to ovulate. Most people say, I think this week I'm ovulating. You only ovulate just, just ovulate once on a single day. The last day of your fertility period is when you ovulate. So you don't ovulate every day for a whole week. But if you get that discharge, then it is indicating or a warning or a symptom or just an alarm to remind you you're fertile and you're about to ovulate. So if you're trying to get pregnant, if you don't want to get pregnant, you avoid sex or you condomize. If you want to have a kid or to get pregnant, that is the time to get and to try to get pregnant, okay? So a clear, stretchy cervical mucus is a normal discharge. What about a greenish, yellowish discharge? A greenish, yellowish discharge is not a normal discharge. Greenish, yellowish discharge means that you have a sexually transmitted infection. Okay? A sexually transmitted infection, go get treated immediately. I forgot to mention about a white discharge that has a smell. A white discharge with a smell indicates an infection. White discharge, no smell, a normal discharge. What about a black discharge? There are women who have seen a black discharge at some time. There are also women who have seen a brown discharge. So these two are closely related. Most of the times, if you get a black or a brown discharge, most of the times everything is okay. Not unless this discharge is accompanied by maybe a smell or other symptoms like itchiness, burning sensation. Then there could be an infection. But most of the times, if you see a brownish discharge or a black or dark discharge, then that is a normal discharge. Why? Because this indicates that you have old retained menses. If you have old retained menses, if you don't expel all blood or whole blood during menstruation, the blood that will remain inside the uterus will go through what we call oxidation. So the color changes from the normal dark red, the normal color of menstruation, to the color will change from dark red to a brown discharge. So most of the times you will realize you have this discharge before you go into your periods, during your periods, or after your periods, okay? But very common before you go into your periods. So brown discharge is old retained menses. A black discharge, still old retained menses. It's only that now you still didn't expel the brown discharge, and now it underwent the same process again. It underwent oxidation, the color changed again from brown to black. Okay, so a brown discharge indicates old retained menses, so you should never have to worry a lot. Don't get afraid, don't get scared, because you know this is the first time you're seeing a black discharge. So what is happening to me? That is very okay. I've said, I'm sure you've learned and you've understood. The good thing is that uploading this video on YouTube will help so many people, because even when you see it somewhere else, you can always, or if you realize you have a funny discharge or a smell, you can always go back to watch this video and it will really help you. So I hope you've learned. See you in the next episode, but please don't forget to subscribe if you've not. Share this video with your friends, like the video, leave a question or a comment on the comment section. Don't also forget to turn on the post notification bell so that you can get notified every time I do a video. So see you in the next episode.